Ladies and gentlemen, the Midnight Cafe welcomes you to our second annual tasting and auction. We are happy to see familiar faces, day walkers and night walkers alike, as well as new members of our now almost global tribe. Rest assured that this establishment is as safe and secure as they come, and we hope that you will have a most pleasant time with us tonight. You're welcome to socialize as you please, just so long as you abide by our very reasonable house rules. For the newcomers, this means that out of respect for our fellow men and women, the use of excessive force, as well as telepathy and other supernatural powers, is strictly prohibited. In other words, don't do anything you wouldn't do if you were alive. We are looking forward to an evening of civil and relaxed entertainment, honoring our differences and celebrating our similarities, which I am certain each and every one of you will find something to delight in tonight. Our selection of goods is more plentiful than ever before. The way this auction works is that I will be introducing the profiles of each of our sources, and based on your preferences, you may choose to indulge in a sample of the individual in question's blood. If you like what you taste, you may bid on a limited amount of bottled product. The 3 or 4 usually highest bidders will each reserve 1 full-liter bottle. The remainder will be served after the auction is closed, for you to enjoy the rest of the night. We do ask that you try to control your urges, as the smell of the sheer quantity of blood may trigger particularly intense impulses. If you violate our house rules, we will ask you to leave the event, forcibly if we must. For the number of bottles you may purchase from our selection tonight, your wallet is the limit. You're welcome to ask us anything about the products we offer, and we guarantee the most humane sourcing and harvesting practices possible. Thank you for joining us tonight, and let the fun begin. Now, the first sample I want to introduce is a far cry from the standard fare you may be used to. A solid type AB with an exceptional iron and phosphorus profile. Male, 36, evidently health conscious. Some of the purest, rarest blood available. Never drank, smoked, or abused substances of any kind. I guarantee you that a sip of this blood will be the closest you come to feeling alive again. The adrenaline content and this pristine blood profile will be sure to wake you up inside. Though it is not recommended if you have consumed adrenaline-rich blood in the past 3 days for obvious reasons. Be mindful of consuming adrenaline, cortisol, and norepinephrine in excess, as they are observed to have personality-altering effects. And while these are usually temporary, they can be addictive to certain individuals. Excessive exposure to these hormones may inhibit your impulse control. However, for those of you who have been feeling sluggish, depressed, and unfulfilled as a result of existing off of blood preserves, this may be the tonic you need to awaken your spirits, fully enjoy life after death. Yes, this blood has been harvested in the last 24 hours. The individual is now deceased. Live donors will be introduced at the end. Allow me to pour a few samples, and you can judge the scent and flavor for yourself. As you can smell by now, the quality and purity are exceptional. The immaculate, vital life force has an intoxicating aroma. Raise your bidder number if you would like a sample. 2, 3, 5, 8, 10, 13. Very well. Remain seated. We will bring them to your tables. A little bit of background while you enjoy the samples. The individual in question was a gardener by trade and a hobby triathlete. The oxygen-rich, clean flavor profile suggests that this outdoorsy lifestyle was sustained by a diet predominantly containing seasonal produce and quality meat. But as we all know, nutrition and lifestyle aren't all that makes a good bottle. The taste is also infused with the character of the deceased, which is dominated by a good heart and drive for righteousness and fairness. As the flavor lingers in your mouth, it develops a hint of deep, buried sorrow paired with loneliness. It is likely that the person chose a righteous path as a result of a traumatic experience in childhood, determined not to follow in the footsteps of someone whose life choices had hurt them. The blood of a rebel healer hits different, doesn't it? Now, the starting price on one of 4 bottles of this anonymous liquid virtue is set at $300. Do we have $300? 350, 400, 450, 500, 550. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sold at 550 to 25, 23, 5, and 13. Next, I have a lovely bottle of delectable virgin blood from an anonymous female, 22, extremely fresh and delicate in flavor, and so crisp that we have to serve it chilled, just to honor the exceptional quality of this blood. A very rounded type B positive. Its subtle sweetness is what makes this such a sought after treat. Intoxicating, yet mellow, light, yet passionate. Flavors you will only find in the freshest, youngest blood we can ethically harvest. Such a shame the young woman did not consent to becoming a donor. But I assure you she was treated with the utmost care, as you can probably smell. From the distinct mellowness that stems from a lack of stress hormones. Furthermore, a diet rich in fresh fruit gives it a crisp sweetness that is absolutely unmatched. I think this bottle would make an outstanding gift for a special someone with a sweet tooth. Have a taste. I'm sure you will agree that the quality is impeccable. Raise your bidder number for a sample of sweet virgin blood. That will be the majority of you, as expected. How about this instead? Raise your bidder number if you do not wish to sample the sweet treat. 3, 23, 19, and 40. Perfect. We will bring them to the rest of you shortly. Now that everyone has their samples, allow me to give a little bit of detail about the individual in question. From what we know, they were freshly in love, as you may take from the ever so subtle sparkling sensation on your tongue. Though their sexual history is known, which makes it so that the person's kind and caring essence is at the forefront and completely unpolluted by other people's energy. A very rare treat indeed. We were also unable to detect any residual flavor of violent trauma, suggesting a rather sheltered, stable and secure upbringing. If you can taste a lingering note of floral aroma, that's because the young woman was a passionate botanist. We suspect their life's been overall peaceful, and as I said, we have done everything in our power not to disrupt that heavenly peace, to offer you one of the finest products on the market. These sublime selling points at the starting price for one of 3 bottles of sweet virgin blood at $900. Do we have $900? 950. 1,000. 1,050. 1,100. 1,150. 1,200. 1,250. 1,300. 1,350. 1,400. 1,450. 1,500. 1,550. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sold at 1,150 to 29, 33, and 13. And for the connoisseurs of you, I am honored to present another bottle of virginal blood straight from the Atkinson's college choir. A studious 20-year-old male, O negative, with equal parts passion for music and love for their family. Some of the purest and most precious drops of blood available. You haven't tasted innocence until you've tasted this, gentleman. No sexual history and no interest in sexuality. This absolutely precious batch of blood is infused predominantly with oxytocin, giving away the kind and caring character of the individual. A welcome change in this cold and hostile world, don't you think? No rose-colored glasses, but an undeniable warmth, hugging you from the inside out. This is only in addition to the surprisingly high micronutrient concentration, despite the fact that the young man in question had been consuming a strictly vegetarian diet for quite some time. Don't believe me? How dare you? What have I ever done to give you a reason to doubt my credibility? Taste it for yourself. Raise your bidder number if you would like to sample virginal innocence. 6, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 17, 18, 33. You. Very well. We will bring them to you. As you can taste, it is an absolutely pristine quality drop with rejuvenating levels of iron and potassium and a bittersweet aftertaste, which, if I were to guess, is a byproduct of being separated from their family in pursuit of higher education. Yet, the overwhelming bonding hormone suggests that the individual found meaning and belonging in their daily life. Who knows? Maybe they found wonderful friends in their lifetime. Maybe their studious character stemmed from a desire to give their family a better life. What's certain is the loving note that infuses this whole batch and mutes the raw instincts we deal with on a daily basis. The cherry on top. No added sedatives. I thought this might interest those of you with an exquisitely delicate palate. Well, for those of you who enjoy trivia on your favorite sources, the young man was an architecture student with a passion for music and singing. Their angelic singing voice would have left you terrified. But we are enamored with their commitment to music, despite the fact that it wasn't their main pursuit. Didn't we all dream about such a precious balance between living for ourselves and giving our all for the ones we love? I wonder if this individual knew they had it figured out. Regardless, not only is their blood exquisite, their example is inspirational. To honor their existence and hope that their essence will be immortalized, if not by their rising, then through our flesh. This absolute treasure of a bottle, of which there are 3, starts at $1,000. Do we have $1,000? 1,050. 1,100. 1,150. 1,200. 1,250. 1,300. 1,350. 1,400. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sold at 1,400 to 28, 34, and 13. If you were unable to reserve a bottle of virgin blood for yourself, I'm happy to say that we have another sweet treat available for you tonight. Namely, a 40-year-old chocolatier with a passion for all things cacao and coffee. I'm sure you can imagine the aromatic flavor already. A male blood type O negative with asthma, and an aversion to alcoholic beverages. If you had a penchant for either of these beans in your life, this blood is the purest, most unadulterated flavor of coffee and chocolate. A lady's two lovers, if you ask me. But even gentlemen will certainly delight in this flavorful bottle. It will be sure to supply an abundance of iron and magnesium, restoring your strength and balancing your mood. The ideal glass to start an evening. Do I even have to ask who would like a sample? The other way around. Thank you. Everyone except for 3, 23, and 16. They will be served to you shortly. Accompanying the invigorating chocolate flavor is a deep profile of overcome struggles, the blood of a hopeless optimist, with a sheer joy of living that will take the wind out of the sails of your worries and root you in the present moment. We suspect the lifetime of crafting exquisite chocolate has been a prolonged meditative experience for the individual. You can recognize this in the outstanding, earthy, and balanced mouthfeel, the taste of a rich and full life. Teaches us that however ordinary your existence, it is still so very worth experiencing. So precious and enjoyable are the simple things that give us life. This could be a therapeutic glass for any of you who have struggled with inner conflicts as a result of rising, as well as the moral war of killing to survive. But we do hope that tonight you can forget about these hardships and just be. You deserve this escape from the pain of being dead. So slow down and enjoy a glass of deep meditative bliss and extraordinarily rich flavor. The starting price for one of 4 bottles is at $300. $350, $400, $450, $500, $550, $600, 1, 2, 3, 4. So at 600 to 8, 13, 12, and 41. Enjoy. The next bottle is equally precious, though to a rather niche palate. A symphony of of rich darkness. And I mean that quite literally. In this unsuspecting, O-positive base hides a pungent secret that not many know about. Our beloved Father Johnson. You may have heard about his disappearance in the news. He was, after all, a beloved member of our community. But don't worry, this blood is anything but saintly. The stench of filth is prevalent in this one, accompanied by a strong note of perversion, love of power. This is the lifeblood of what we would call a covert narcissist. Though I'm sure you can find other words to describe the deceased. But if you happen to be a lover of all things twisted and wretched, this might be the glass for you. We all have our preferences, and this is a safe space for you to indulge in whatever flavors suit your palate. Particularly if you have a metaphorical bone to pick with a deceased, or someone of their caliber. For some of you, you may find that the aroma of immorality takes you back to your human days. Maybe you have been, or you know someone who has been hurt by his vile actions. This could be your opportunity to celebrate his death. For those of you who don't know Father Johnson, he was born and raised in this very town. Doesn't get more local. Male and 53 years of age, and has been serving the St. Benedict's Catholic Church for 35 of those years. This is why some of you may be shocked to learn about his dark past. But the blood doesn't lie. Taste it for yourself. Raise your bidder number for a sample of Father Johnson. 46, 33, 15, 13. Perfect. Now, as you can taste, not only is this product infused with wickedness and putrescence, but also insatiable greed. As the flavor develops, you will notice the deep, complex darkness I was talking about. People say that hell is empty and all the demons are here. This is what they mean. Not one deadly sin is missing from this blend. The only other feature worth mentioning is a taste for expensive wine. This gentleman was living, breathing proof that we must not judge a book by its cover. how could we enjoy such a luxurious glass of decaying life if we gave in to our fear of the divine? Between the sentimental value of the individual in question and the extraordinary flavor profile, the starting price for one of 4 bottles of Father Johnson's blood is $500. Do we have 500? 3 bidders at 500. Do we have a 4th bidder? No. Sold at 500 to 7, 6, and 42. If that wasn't enough wickedness for you, may I introduce the pitch black blood of a liar and thief. Not an honest bone in this man's body from what I can tell. His death has been inevitable, but our skilled hunters got to him first to bring you some of the most bitter and acidic type A negative blood yet. If you're familiar with Senator Briggs, of course you are. Marked by a pathological inauthenticity, this deep blackness in both color and flavor showcases a lack of remorse for wrongdoings. For those of you who don't know, the deceased stood accused of tax fraud, voter fraud, multiple human rights violations, as well as abuse of power. Some sources even linked him to last year's assassination of Vice President Charles. May they rest in peace. To our knowledge, there was no proof of their rising, though we are aware of the rumors. Hopefully, with the demise of Thomas Briggs, the unjust treatment of minorities in the state will cease. Well, here's to their death. Raise your bidder number if you would like to sample Mr. Briggs. 14, 30, 26, 1, 11, 13, 17. Coming right up. As you can taste, this batch has an overpowering flavor of blackness. It's like drinking the void. Once the bitterness subsides, it makes way for a surprisingly balanced palate, both from a quality diet which he was known to enjoy, frequenting our best restaurants almost daily, and also a deep peace of mind that stems from an abhorrent lack of empathy. This explains how a husband and father of 3 was capable of such despicable acts in his lifetime. There is something to be said for evil, as I'm sure some of you will agree. The sheer power it floods your organism with can be an exhilarating experience. those of you who seek something more than balance and peace. There is a freedom to be found in this lack of concern with morals, invulnerability, and layers of lies and deception. If you'd like to explore how it feels to be invincible, this is the glass for you. This gentleman treated life as a game, and people as chess pieces for his own gain, and he loved himself for it. We assure you the gentleman was in possession of a beating heart, though its purpose seemed to be purely physical. Yes, all our sources will be receiving a burial. We are not responsible for what happens to them after death, if that's what you're asking. I know Mr. Briggs wasn't what they call a jolly good fella. And if you harbor feelings of wrath or vengeance against the individual, I completely understand. Plenty of people weren't exactly happy with him in office. None of us will intervene in anything past the burial and the forest clearing down south. The news outlets will be treating his disappearance as an attempt to escape his inevitable trial in the court of law. We have tribe members running major names, currently working on a story of the house of cards collapsing around them, with a slow but steady depletion of funds for use on lawsuit settlements. So rest assured that none of this will be traced back to us. Any more questions? Well then, the starting price was such a big name. I set at $600 for one of 4 bottles. Do we have 600? I see quite a few of you are interested. Must have sentimental value. 650. 700. 750. 800. Sold at 800, 17, 19, 26, and 40. Now for a delightful change of pace, may I introduce an astonishing blend of pleasure and pain. A young woman whose passion for dance has earned her much prestige at the Pacific Northwest Ballet. Katerina Novak was in her time an extraordinarily talented ballerina, having performed at major venues all over the country at the height of her glory. Her profession assumes not only a dedication to rigorous exercise, but also a pristine diet. And we are happy to inform you that the rumors about Katerina's alleged use of performance-enhancing substances are false. No. This individual was chosen by us for her exuberant energy, which we can confirm translates into a most stimulating no pun intended, glass of blood. Her heart was undoubtedly powered by raw emotion, particularly heartache and a hint of masochism. And as it is in the performing arts, there's no gain without pain. Evidently, the rigorous training was wearing on her as she grew in popularity. There is an elevated level of stress hormones in this profile, which is to be expected with the sheer amount of physical stress a dancer's body goes through. Chronic pain from overexercising leaves a sore taste on the tongue, which just so happens to harmonize quite well with the absolute ecstasy of being one with the music. You'll see. Raise your bidder number for a sample of Katerina's blood. 5, 7, 12, 13, 14, 27, 28, 33. Very well. We're on a roll today. No judgment. Pain and suffering is the inevitable consequence of existence. So indulgence may as well be the meaning. Enjoy. For those of you unfamiliar with Katerina, she graces us tonight with an exquisite type A positive blood, full of flavor and nutrients. A drop so vivid and emotive that is sure to boost your ability to feel tenfold. Hints of sorrow and heartache perfectly contrast the courage and elation swirling on your tongue. A vividness I'm sure you haven't felt in a long time, possibly ever. Even in life, a rare few of us ever achieved this close fusion with our soul and our emotions. This extremely rare drop will allow you to feel what it's like to have a soul. That's why the starting price for one of 3 bottles is set at $800. Do we have $800? Very well, 850. 900. 950. 1,000. 1,050. 1,100. 1,150. 1,200. Sold at 1,200 to 28, 33, and 13. If you lean a little heavier on the pleasure side, so did this 41 male, type AB positive, with an appetite for living deliciously, unlike anything you've ever tasted. This anonymous source lets you taste the world, as they were known for enjoying women, men, everything in between, on a rather frequent basis. Being independently wealthy has its perks, doesn't it? This blood is infused not only with unbelievable amounts of dopamine and pheromones, but also a very rich nutrient profile. Be mindful of the elevated levels of cholesterol, however. Maybe pair it with the first batch if you plan on enjoying a fair amount of it. Other than that, I will stop getting in the way of you and this drop of bliss. Now, if the smell isn't intoxicating enough, then the blissful palette of pheromones, glutamates, and glucose will be sure to seduce your taste buds with its uniquely addicting flavor. Savory, sweet, and smooth. The longer it lingers, the more euphoric it seems to become. The sparkling of excitement and the burning of the last to wash down your throat as you swallow. Slowly, it floods your senses and drowns you in pure eroticism. We can only speculate what kind of life has forged a man of such worldly desire, as the profile of pleasure is far too overpowering to make out any secondary notes. But it is rumored that involvement in the dark arts may create such a powerful essence. A bottle of this will surely make for an ecstatic experience for anyone seeking a potent love potion. Be warned, however, that excessive consumption may impair your judgment and block inhibitions. Take heed, or you may end up regretting your actions. Due to the sheer potency, the starting price for one of 3 bottles of liquid eroticism is set at $600. Do we have $600? 650, 700, 750, 800, 850, 900, 950, 1,000, 1,050, 1,100, 1,150, 1,200, 1,250, 1,300, 1, 2, 3, 4. Sold at 1,300 to 44, 4, and 13. The next file I want to introduce was especially difficult to source, but we have made some arrangements to bring you a precious drop of royal blood. Going back centuries, you can taste the pretentiousness, the greed, the inbreeding, the false sense of prestige and importance. All this to complement an impeccable nutrient profile of a well-known 46-year-old 𝖇𝖆𝖓𝖖𝖚 female. Countess Melinda Byron. Yes, I understand the concern of such a high-profile name in the mix, but do not fret. We have made sure her disappearance will not be pursued. With the help of no other than Count Byron himself, who has agreed to the scheme, intending to officially wed one of his mistresses in the foreseeable future. We have the Royal Military Police on our side, so rest assured that the official story will not include our establishment. As for the Countess, as fate would have it, her inability to produce an heir has made her the target of foul play for quite some time now. Though previously unsuccessful, we have witnessed accounts of multiple covert attempts on the Countess's life. A well-kept secret in the royal court. A tragic fate to be deemed unfit of one's responsibilities to such a noble family. Seems even the most tight-knit of families. Blood may be thicker than water, but also harder to clean up. We conveniently offered our assistance to come to an arrangement that benefits both parties. The royal court will have every chance in the world to conceive an heir. And yourself, ladies and gentlemen, who may indulge without guilt in this drop of noble history. Raise your bedam for a taste of the Countess. 1, 4, 9, 12, 13, 15. Coming right up. Now the first thing you may notice is the slight astringent burn that is the result of gene pool uniformity. This may seem like common sense, but gene pool variation really does make for the healthiest genetic expression, though there is something to be said for the concentrated taste of royalty. And the lead drop that is as rare as it is ambivalent in taste and effect. Like a dry, slightly sour wine, laced with a musky aroma of the patriarchy. A hint of sweetness suggests the Countess's mellow, dreamy character, and the slightest burn of pink pepper spice, signifying a healthy appetite for all things corporeal. Judging by the blood, they would have made a much better mistress, a mother, and despite being known for their aesthetically pleasing face, it seems they were simply ill-fitted for the duties bestowed upon them, but you won't taste the bitter residue left by self-hate. As this is the blood of a woman who knew her worth, knew the privilege of her sheltered upbringing, and fully owned herself as a human being and her place in her tragically short life. Due to the rarity of the pleasant, well-rounded character of the Countess, as well as a very reasonable markup for the name, the starting price on one of 3 bottles is set at 1,200. Do we have 1,200? 1,250. 1,300. 1,350. 1,400. 1,450. 1,500. 1,550. 1,600. 1,650. 1,700. 1,750. 1,800. 1,850. 1,900. 1,950. 2,000. 2,050. 2,100. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sold at 2,100 to 46, 3, and 13. Alas, we have almost reached the end with our last, possibly most sought-after product, a sinful pleasure with notes of treachery, deeply rooted in invincibility, cloaked in darkness, and soaked in ecstasy. A drop so rare, it's been pulled out of the deepest shadows of the night to let you feel the arousal of the hunt, to increase your power and root you in your nature. But that's not all. AB negative liquid bloodlust from a man who is commonly known as the Soul Eater. If he didn't confirm his humanity, you might think he's one of us. Thanks to our friends on law enforcement, we were able to capture and harvest the most ruthless creature on this earth. A man of unbridled instincts. They were said to have murdered and consumed the blood of over 200 men and women, all of whom between the age of 14 and 25. Was killing the killer a sin? Or grace? Drinking their blood. Is it evil to take pleasure in evil? Or simply nature? Is conscience a virtue? Or a curse? Ladies and gentlemen, allow the lifeblood of the enemy of man to speak for itself. What do your senses tell you about this man? They were given the name Soul Eater because they were thought to be soulless, and seeking to fill the deep void within their core with the blood of the innocent. Yet they were proven alive by the very means of measuring life man has created. A pulse, red blood, and a beating heart. The very thing they shun some of us for not possessing. Arguably more evil and cunning than many of us, still they were granted the right to live, for they possessed this, does it smell putrid? Pure evil. Good. Sinful. Innocent. If you ask me, it's all of the above. Who would like to sample this mesmerizing drop? Very well, we will bring them to you. Taste the flavor of pure life. Let it wash away the meaning you assert over it. Allow the wholeness of this drop of blood to make you question everything. Taste, death, the darkness, the deception, the rawness and unbridled pleasure, the innocence and ecstasy. Is the love of death not awfully similar to the love of life? Is it not all about meaning and polarity? Is it not all an aspect of the same circle? Are we not all capable of the same feeling, the same desire? This bottle has the power to invoke nirvana, as they would call it. For the rarity and the immeasurable effect, the starting price for one of 3 bottles is set at $1,500. Do we have $1,500? 1,550? 1,600? 1,650, 1,700, 1,750, 1,800, 1,850, 1,900, 1,950, 2,000, 2,050, 2,100. 2,150, 2,200, 2,250, 2,300, 2,350, 2,400, 2,450, 2,500. 2,550, 2,600, 2,650, 2,700, 2,750, 2,800, 2,850, 2,900. 2,950. 3,000. 3,050. 3,100. 3,200. 3,300. Sold at 3,300 to 25, 38, and 13. With this, ladies and gentlemen, the auction's closed, and the purchases will be waiting for you in the back room, safe in the hands of our best guards, to be picked up before you leave. Until then, you may enjoy the remainder of the blood that hasn't been claimed, as we will serve it at the buffet table in a few short minutes, along with these rare drops. It is my honor to introduce you to our specials tonight. Freshly drawn blood from all live donors, still warm and at peak aroma. To protect our donors' identities, we have delivered them safely to their homes and beds for the night, as well as ensure they remain anonymous for their safety and privacy. Now, if I may have your attention for another few minutes. The freshly drawn aroma is something else, isn't it? Please note that our donors have offered up their blood completely voluntarily. No one has been hypnotized or coerced in any way, shape, or form. So I hope you can enjoy these delectable samples guilt-free, as I'm sure our dear donors would want it. Starting with this bottle right here. This is a very unique profile with equal amounts of estrogen and testosterone. The ambivalence is astounding. This blood was drawn from a transgender individual. It possesses this fresh and spicy flavor that I absolutely adore. It is definitely more on the sharp side, but it doesn't lack a little bit of spice to cut through the blandness of the mundane. As you can probably smell, they are very confident in themselves, downright cocky sometimes, but this is what makes this drop so appealing and enchanting. I can only recommend it. The next sample is soft and sweet and extremely young. So young it is only available as live blood. The young girl is a personal friend of mine. She is so pleasant and sweet and curious, which translates into a glowing aura infused in this blood. Once you taste it, you will know what I'm talking about. The blood is so fresh and full of life, it's like it's radiating its own energy. Very sweet, a little bit of a chlorophyll aftertaste, which I'm sure you could tell. I mean, it's absolutely invigorating. The next sample is more mature, very wise, very proper, an absolutely enlightening person to be around, and as is their blood. You can taste the years of experience, the inner peace, and the mastering of life. At the forefront is a permeating essence of a sharp mind. I recommend this for anyone who suffers from confusion and brain fog, Especially if you get your sources from who knows where, and it may not be a pure batch, or the individual has suffered a great deal of trauma. That can really give you headaches and mental fog. But the clear and focused taste of this wise woman should clear it right up. The next donor is a young man who is in love with one of ours and has offered their blood fairly regularly for quite some time now. Its dominant notes are courage, honor, and honesty, leaning more towards the savory, salty side, slightly metallic as well, as the individual is taking iron supplements due to the higher demand for their blood. A little bitter as well, but merely as a byproduct of bravery. Combining all these flavors, it does come out a pretty indulgent blend. I'm sure you will enjoy this a lot. Now this batch right here is extra smoky and seductive, sultry, moody, and slightly sweet. Think wood fire, an essential experience of physicality. Late summer evenings, paired with lonesomeness. This lady quite enjoys her solitude, so that makes this an especially peaceful batch. A lot of our patrons really enjoy this one. It really sets a very harmonizing mood, and the sophisticated flavors are absolutely gorgeous. Wild and free and earthy and smoky. And for those of you interested, the lady does enjoy having her blood drawn, making her a regular donor, to all our delight. And the last batch right here is extra lean and pristine, for those of you who are in need of a superfood health shot. Absolutely wonderful low-fat blood from a very fit gentleman. The taste of pure vitality. If you are looking for something to indulge in without any overpowering mood effects, I highly recommend this very well balanced drop. It has notes of ginger and wasabi, with how it clears out your brain and sinuses. Very exceptional, clarifying blood. Not only does it supply astonishing amounts of vitality, it works as an antidote to any murky, hazy, or emotionally charged blood. If you follow me over to the buffet, I will serve them up with the rest of the blood that my waitress has already took care of. Sally is finishing up the last couple of bottles. I have reserved a bottle from each of the sources, especially for this banquet. So even if you were unable to purchase any of them, you may still enjoy them to the fullest. I'm sure you can't wait to dig in, so we hope you will find the selection more than satisfactory. Thank you for your attention, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy the rest of your night.